Have you ever wondered about the birth of architecture and how it has shaped our world? This is a question that takes us on an incredible journey back in time. The origins of architecture are deeply rooted in the survival instincts of our prehistoric ancestors. The need for shelter from the elements was a primary driving force. These early dwellings were simple and functional, often made of materials readily available in the environment like wood, stone, and animal skins. As societies evolved, so did their architectural needs and capabilities. The dawn of agriculture brought about the first human settlements. Here, architecture began to show its multifaceted nature. It was no longer just about survival, but also about creating a sense of community and expressing cultural identity. Then, as we move into the era of great civilizations like Egypt, Greece, and Rome, architecture takes on new dimensions. In ancient Egypt, the grand pyramids and intricate temples served not just as places of worship, but also as symbols of the pharaoh's divine power. In Greece, architecture became a reflection of their philosophical and cultural ideals. The elegant columns and detailed friezes of the Parthenon, for instance, embody the Greek love for harmony and balance. Rome, famed for its architectural prowess, gave us marvels like the Colosseum and the Pantheon. Their structures, often monumental in scale, were expressions of the empire's wealth and power. Through these examples, we see that architecture is more than just the art of building. It's a mirror that reflects the cultural, religious, and political ideals of a society. It's a language that tells us stories of the past, of civilizations risen and fallen, of human triumphs and failures. And as we journey through time, from the humble beginnings of primitive shelters to the grandeur of ancient civilizations, it's fascinating to see how architecture has not only served a functional purpose, but also stood as a testament to human creativity and resilience. Join us as we delve deeper into this captivating story, exploring the evolution of architectural styles, their influences, and their impact on our world today. As we journey through time, we'll see how architecture has not only served a functional purpose, but also stood as a testament to human creativity and resilience. Gothic architecture, a style that emerged in the Middle Ages, is still admired for its grandeur and intricate details. This style was characterized by a number of defining features that set it apart from the architectural styles that came before it. One of the key features of Gothic architecture was the ribbed vault. These vaults were made by intersecting 2 to 3 barrel vaults, creating a web-like structure that was not only visually stunning, but also allowed for greater ceiling heights. Next came the flying buttresses, an ingenious solution to the problem of supporting the weight of the building. These arches, which were placed on the exterior of the building, transferred the weight of the roof to the outer walls, allowing for larger windows and more natural light to enter the building. Pointed arches were another hallmark of the Gothic style. Unlike the round arches used in Romanesque architecture, pointed arches were taller and more dramatic, contributing to the overall verticality of Gothic structures. Perhaps the most famous examples of Gothic architecture are the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris and the Canterbury Cathedral in England. These cathedrals, with their tall spires, intricate stone carvings, and stunning stained glass windows, perfectly embody the grandeur and intricacy of the Gothic style. Gothic architecture, with its soaring heights and intricate designs, was a testament to the artistic and engineering skills of its time. As we move forward in time, we encounter the Renaissance period, a time of rebirth for art, culture, and of course, architecture. The Renaissance, originating from Italy in the 14th century, was a period of rediscovery, with architects drawing inspiration from the classical Greeks and Romans. This led to a new architectural language characterized by symmetry, proportion, and the regularity of parts. The Renaissance architects focused on creating structures that were not only functional, but also pleasing to the eye. They believed that a building, like a well-crafted piece of music, should be harmonious and balanced. This emphasis on harmony is evident in the architectural designs of the period, with their symmetrical layouts, uniform spaces, and carefully calculated proportions. Among the architects who left an indelible mark on Renaissance architecture are Filippo Brunelleschi and Michelangelo. Brunelleschi, often credited as the father of Renaissance architecture, is best known for his design of the dome of the Florence Cathedral. This masterpiece, with its perfect symmetry and proportion, embodies the spirit of the Renaissance. Michelangelo, on the other hand, while renowned for his sculptures and paintings, also made significant contributions to architecture. His design of the Laurentian Library, with its innovative use of space and light, set a new standard in architectural design. Renaissance architecture, with its emphasis on harmony and balance, brought a refreshing change from the complex designs of the Gothic period. Fast forward to the 20th century, and we see the birth of modern architecture. A period marked by a seismic shift in the way buildings were designed, modern architecture broke away from the traditional forms and ornate details that had characterized earlier styles. The key principles of modern architecture revolved around the use of new technologies and materials. Steel, glass, and reinforced concrete became the building blocks of the modernist era, allowing architects to explore new forms and spaces. But it wasn't just about the materials. Modern architecture was also about a philosophy that believed in the idea of form following function. In other words, the design of a building should be primarily based upon its intended function or purpose. This was a revolutionary idea, a complete departure from the past where form often superseded function. It was about creating spaces that were not just aesthetically pleasing but also functional and efficient. It was about stripping away the unnecessary and focusing on the essential. And this approach resulted in some iconic buildings. Take, for instance, Villa Savoye by Le Corbusier. A masterpiece of modernist architecture, Villa Savoye was designed as a machine for living. It was functional, efficient, and devoid of any unnecessary ornamentation. Then there's the Farnsworth House by Mies van der Rohe. With its glass walls and open floor plan, the Farnsworth House was a radical departure from traditional residential designs. It blurred the boundaries between the inside and outside, creating a continuous, flowing space that was in harmony with its surroundings. But it wasn't just about individual buildings. Modern architecture also had a profound impact on urban planning. It led to the creation of high-rise buildings and skyscrapers, transforming city skylines around the world. Modern architecture, with its clean lines and simplicity, was a stark departure from the ornate designs of the past. It was a movement that challenged conventions and pushed boundaries, forever changing the way we think about architecture. It was, in many ways, a reflection of the 20th century itself, a century of rapid change, innovation, and progress. The reaction to the starkness of modern architecture led to the birth of postmodern architecture. It emerged in the mid-20th century as a response to the perceived limitations of modern architecture. In contrast to modernism's focus on simplicity and functionality, postmodernism embraced complexity and contradiction. So, what makes architecture postmodern? One of its defining characteristics is the use of unconventional shapes. Postmodern architects often reject the rigid geometric forms of modern architecture, instead opting for more fluid, organic shapes. They are not afraid to challenge the norms, to twist the rules and play with perspectives. Another defining feature of postmodern architecture is its use of bright colors. While modern architecture often sticks to a monochromatic palette, postmodernism celebrates color in all its vibrancy. A postmodern building can be a riot of hues, a canvas for the architect's creative expression. Perhaps one of the most intriguing characteristics of postmodern architecture is its mix of different styles. Postmodern architects often draw from a wide range of influences, from classical architecture to pop culture, and blend them together in surprising ways. It's a bit like a chef creating a fusion dish, combining ingredients from different cuisines to create something entirely new. Let's take a look at some examples. The Piazza d'Italia in New Orleans, designed by Charles Moore, is a great example of postmodern architecture's playful spirit. With its colorful tiles and references to classical Roman architecture, it's a delightful mix of old and new. Then there's the Guggenheim Museum Bilbao, designed by Frank Gehry. Its curvaceous, metallic forms, inspired by fish scales, are a stunning departure from the boxy shapes of modern architecture. It's a building that captures the imagination and pushes the boundaries of what architecture can be. These are just two examples, but they give a sense of the diversity and creativity that postmodern architecture brings to our urban landscapes. Postmodern architecture, with its playfulness and eclecticism, opened up new possibilities for architectural design. It encourages us to see buildings not just as functional structures, but as works of art that can inspire, provoke, and delight. Now, as we stand in the 21st century, what does the future hold for architecture? An intriguing question indeed. The architectural landscape is constantly evolving, with new trends and technologies shaping the structures of tomorrow today. One such trend is sustainable design. As we become more aware of our environmental footprint, architects are working towards a greener future by designing buildings that are not only beautiful, but also eco-friendly. They're incorporating natural light, renewable materials, and energy-efficient systems to reduce both the construction and operational impact of buildings on the environment. Then, we have the rise of smart buildings. Thanks to advancements in technology, we're seeing a trend towards structures that are more responsive, adaptive, and efficient. By integrating systems for lighting, heating, cooling, and security, these buildings can optimize their own operations to provide a more comfortable and sustainable environment. Imagine living in a building that knows how to adjust the temperature based on the weather outside, or can detect if a room is unoccupied and turn off the lights to save energy. That's the promise of smart buildings. And let's not forget about parametric design, an innovative approach that uses algorithms to create complex yet precise forms and structures. This allows architects to push the boundaries of design, creating buildings that are as much a work of art as they are functional spaces. These emerging trends are not just influencing the design of buildings, but also shaping our interactions with them. They're transforming the way we live, work, and play, making our built environment more sustainable, efficient, and aesthetically pleasing. But these are just a few glimpses into the future of architecture. With advancements in technology and a growing emphasis on sustainability and efficiency, the architectural landscape is poised for exciting transformations. Who knows what marvels the future holds? Architecture, as always, continues to evolve, reflecting the needs and aspirations of each new generation. Throughout history, architecture has served as a mirror to human civilization, reflecting our aspirations, beliefs, and technological advancements. It has been a testament to our ingenuity and creativity, revealing more about us than any written record ever could. Our journey began with the birth of architecture, a time when we first started to manipulate our environment and create structures that served our basic needs. These early architectural marvels were simple but resilient, crafted from available materials and designed for functionality. We then moved into the era of Gothic architecture, a period marked by soaring spires, intricate details, and a fascination with light and space. This was a time of great religious fervor, and the structures built during this period were testament to our desire to reach for the heavens. The Renaissance ushered in a new era of architectural design. Inspired by the classical ideals of Rome and Greece, architects started to incorporate symmetry, proportion, and geometry into their designs. This period saw a return to rationality and order, reflecting the Enlightenment ideals of the time. The advent of modern architecture marked a significant departure from the past. Architects began to experiment with new materials and technologies, creating buildings that were minimalist, functional, and devoid of unnecessary ornamentation. This was a time of great technological advancement, and architecture mirrored this progress. Postmodern architecture came next, challenging the norms established by modernism. Architects began to play with forms, colors, and textures, creating buildings that were eclectic, playful, and sometimes even controversial. Finally, we looked into the future of architecture, a time that promises exciting possibilities. As we continue to push the boundaries of what is possible, we can expect to see buildings that are more sustainable, adaptable, and responsive to the needs of their inhabitants. As we continue to shape our built environment, we are also shaping our collective history and future. Indeed, architecture is much more than just buildings. It's a reflection of who we are, a testament to our creativity, and a beacon for where we're headed. It's a narrative that is constantly being written, one structure at a time.